Hello, welcome to 3 and Axiomedia. And today we're going to discuss about IELTS, International English Language Testing System. And we have in place the special guest of the day, Mr. Dilip Mani. So let me tell you a few details about the IELTS expert, Mr. Dilip. Dilip Mani is from Kottayam, our own God's own country, Kerala. He's the founder of Aries International Educational Institution, and he's empowering and inspiring a lot of IELTS aspirants across the globe. He holds a master's degree and teaching diploma from Cambridge University. He joined VSU United Kingdom in order to lead the rollout of a literacy and numeracy program aimed at out-of-school youth as part of a livelihood intervention in East Africa. He's an academician, he's an educator, and he was the principal of British School of Kampala, and currently he's in India at Punjab. He has published blogs and e-novel Hobo and Angel and Manual on hotel management training. With immense pleasure and privilege, let me welcome Mr. Dilip Mani to this platform, and he'll share with us all the things that you should know about IELTS. So Mr. Dilip, welcome to this platform, and I expect you to share your experience and your knowledge with respect to IELTS, because there are n number of IELTS aspirants across the globe. Please give them better insight about IELTS preparation, scope, and future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen. It's my immense pleasure and honor to be with you. I'm quite glad to share some of the tips and techniques about IELTS. So I've been doing the trainings for maybe past more than 80 years, and it's sort of my passion. So right now, as you said, I'm in Mohali, somewhere near Mohali. I also do online trainings, and I have students from Africa, Kuwait, Middle Eastern countries, also some from British Columbia in Canada, and students from Punjab and Kerala, also Bangalore. So there is an online platform. Also, I have a classroom where I do my trainings. So IELTS, International English Language Testing System, is mandatory if you are planning to go for studies abroad, or you are going to apply for a permanent residency, finding a job. So the aspirants who want to find jobs, they usually do an IELTS general, and those who want to study, they do IELTS academics. And there are many professionals from various fields, like there are doctors, nurses, business managers, all of them, they do these trainings. So there are 4 modules, means you have to clear 4 tests practically. And there is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So basically what I do is I give them feedbacks after their sessions. Usually I give 4 sessions first, in which I cover most of the tips and techniques. And then I do a diagnostic test to see where the candidate stands. Then I try to bring them up to the desired level. Like there is beginners, intermediate, pre-intermediate, and then we go for the IELTS course.
Okay.
I can tell you an example. If you take speaking, for example, now, like if I ask you what's your name, you will tell your name, right? And then what did you have for breakfast? So you might tell me tea and coffee and biscuits. Maybe that's what you had. But for an IELTS exam, the examiner is looking for your array of vocabulary and fluency and coherence, grammar, etc. So facts doesn't matter here. What matters is the way you present yourself and your, the way you speak. So for this particular question, there are techniques. So I'll tell you a simple technique. Like you can tell, you can answer the question then you give example, then you give alternate answer, then you give your personal opinion. For example, like if someone asks you what did you have for breakfast, you say, you first answering the question, you say breakfast is the most important meal of the day and I always make sure I have my breakfast on time. Now you give your examples. So today's breakfast, I had bread, butter, jam, mayonnaise, big glass of passion fruit juice, coffee. Now, alternate answer. Some days, due to my hectic schedule, I skip my breakfast. And then your personal opinion. Personally, I feel that I shouldn't skip breakfast. It might lead to health hazards. So, if a candidate can speak like this, then there's a vast difference in the band score. Okay, the scores are like from 1 to 9, and 5 is like an average. And you get 7 and 8 when you start using connectives and powerful vocabulary. Also, your accent should be a neutral accent, which the examiner should be able to understand. So once you know what the examiner is looking for, and then you practice and try to cater for that, you are going to get a very good score. Like some of my students, like there was Roshna, she's from her parents and from our residents in Africa. She's actually from our Kerala. She got like 8.5 out of 9. And recent exam, there is Shashi Kumar's daughter. Shashi Kumar is chairman of the Indian Association in Uganda. I hope I'm correct. And so he works there, and his daughter was Sharanya. She scored like 8.5, and some of the modules she scored like a 9. So students score very well. That's my experience when they know what.
What is the passing score of IELTS?
There is no passing score like exactly. They're based on your English level, they give you bands. And it depends on what each person needs. For example, if you're a student and you want to go for apply for academics and you want to join a university, definitely you need a minimum 6 bands out of 9 to pass the immigration. Means basically to go you need a 6 in all the modules, not less than 6 for Canada. Now, for Australia, you might need a 7. And for getting into very good universities, they ask you for an 8. So that is why I said it depends. But basically, you should get, above 6. So that is a minimum score.
Yeah. What is the eligibility for IELTS exam?
You should have crossed 16 years. You should be at least 16 years and more, and you might have completed your O level or 10th. So 10th grade and 16 years, definitely you can.
Okay. In fact, is IELTS difficult or it is easy to pass? Is it difficult?
No, it's not very difficult. It's like it's almost okay. The passages are mostly taken from Guardian or National Geographic magazines, and if a person, a 10th grade student, means it's like a 10th grade level who has some habit of reading books and. Especially CBSE school students, I've seen them, especially students from Kerala, I've seen them scoring very good marks, because those who are like a little bit interested in reading and speaking also, they are able to score very good. It's not very difficult, not at all difficult. It's more technical, I would say, because once you understand what the examiners are looking for, and as I said, when you cater to that, definitely you're going to score a very good bands.
That means is 12 exam marks. Is it important for the exam?
Really, once you finish your IELTS score, most of the universities are just considering that score as a landmark for their next, whether it's degree or diploma, whatever it is. So doesn't matter. Sometimes you get very low score for your CBSE or +2, but then if your IELTS scores are really good, it's definitely going to have an impact on your on your admissions and studies.
We are in a challenging time, and during this pandemic, so is it possible for people to prepare IELTS sitting at home?
I think this is the best time because of pandemic. Many of the people have a lot of free time, And my recent results are from Kuwait. She is an HR in one of the companies, and because of the pandemic, she got a lot of free time, and she came up with a 7-band score. So I think this is the best time, especially for people who wants to study, to join IELTS. And also, it's good to take help of a professional trainer, because the online classes, if you look at these video classes, there are a lot of videos are available, but most of them are not very interactive. So you really need a trainer who gives you regular feedback on these modules, and then you keep on working on it. And if you spend around 2 hours, at least 4 hours per day, I would say, so your score is 5, you get a 0.5 increase. That's what the research says. You get a 0.5 increase every week. So a person with some dedication, and of course with some free time, this is not it's their cup of tea. It's an easy cakewalk. Yeah.
Okay. So what I understand is that there is no specific duration, right? Because it depends on the participant. It depends on the student.
Yeah.
How fast
Yeah.
is
It depends on the input of the student and the regular feedback from the trainer. So that is all it needed. Yeah.
I heard about different sections, and what are the types of sections and how each section is important, and also there are different grading system, and how reading is graded, how writing is graded. Can you please show your insight?
Oh, yeah. Reading, it is like for 1 hour, and there are 3 or 4 passages usually, and 40 questions. So let's say, like, don't spend more than 2 minutes on each question, because you get only 1 minute. Some students make this mistake of thinking about the answers for 5 or 10 minutes or 20 minutes when they don't get an answer. It's quite okay to leave a question if you don't get the answer, and then go for the next one. Because by that time, because you always have to remember, like, apparently you get only 1 mark for each question. And so that is 40 questions for reading. So there is like group, like marks are graded. So like if you say like, I'm not exactly sure, but it varies. 30 to 35 can be a 8, something like that. 8 bands. Now for listening, it is like 30 minutes you listen, and then you get 10 minutes to transfer the answers. There also it is 40 questions, and all these are like 3 sections. Now first section will be supposed to be easy, and the test progress, like the third section, can be really complicated. The same is the case with reading, writing, speaking and listening. Now, when it comes to writing, it is 2 tasks. The first task is just 20 marks for 20 minutes. I'm sorry, the first task is for 20 minutes, and the second task is for 40 minutes. And 10 minutes for the task 2, you get to prepare. And the rest of the 30 minutes, you can start writing the answers. So basically, you are graded according to the grammar, vocabulary, and spelling, etc., and your ability to paraphrase the introduction, to write a good introduction. So based on this, you are given a grade. Yeah. So that is for writing. For general, they write a letter, and for academics, they usually analyze a graph. And listening is same. Reading, the first 2 paragraphs may be more about advertisements or some practical English. The third paragraph is almost similar with academics. So that's the only difference. Speaking is the same. Yeah.
So can you tell me about the duration of the exam? And okay, second, I think examination is being conducted online, right? So please do validate it. So
there are, usually what I do is, when I do online classes, every Saturdays I give a mock test. And otherwise on the other days, it is just doing 2 modules and giving feedbacks on it. It's also bad to do work a lot on this, like instead of 4 hours, some people can work for 8 hours, but that will burn you down. Means you will lose interest. So it's always necessary to keep a balance, and also to be focused and be aware of what you're doing. And the exams, the real British Council exams, there is British Council IDP, they're all doing these exams. So Usually in one day you get your speaking, reading, listening, and writing. Or sometimes you have reading, listening, and writing on one day, and after 1 or 2 days you get your speaking exam. So that is how it goes. Speaking is the first part is about making you comfortable questions, and after that you get questions on you get a 2 minute topic on a general topic like favorite festival or something, and then there are follow-up questions which really important, and it's very significant because your grades depends on not so straight questions of that third section.
Okay. So first section, second sections, third section, matlab, whether the intensity of the questions vary?
Yeah. Yeah, the intensity of course varies because the first section is usually make you comfortable, and the third section is not so straight. For example, I'll tell you a third section question like, what's the most important pastime activity in the area where you come from? So this is actually this question is a bit twisted. Area where you come from is your hometown, so it's like a synonym, and the pastime activity is your hobby. So you have to be a bit focused when you hear these questions. That's it. And when you don't understand a question, it's better to ask like, can you please pardon me? Can you repeat? Or even then you didn't understand. You are also you can do like, can you rephrase the question? So they will rephrase your questions, and the questions are of general interest about you most of the time. So there is nothing like difficult about it. Most of the things you know. It's all about your English language proficiency.
Fine. What I understand is systematic preparation and proper guidance definitely can help IELTS aspirants, right, to achieve their goal.
Sure. And also we must consider this, like if you're getting a really good score, and there are some of my students who applied for scholarship and they get the whole fees waived off in some of the universities. That is something which you need to consider. So this is really then when you look at that, it's really important, especially during pandemic, you get a lot of free time because most of the things are going online. So this is a good time where you prepare, and people who want to work abroad, they can go for that, and those who want to study, they should consider that. And I will tell that this is the best time for doing that.
You mentioned about your students. So tell me about your students who had done IELTS training under you and their achievements, please.
Okay, my first student, I have her name was Ankita. She was from Pala, and she was into aeronautics field. She was a ground staff for the Entebbe airport. She's from Kerala, mind you. And then now she's doing her studies in UK. So she's already there, and the rest, many of them are still they. The second one, Roshna, she got around 8.5 bands, and I think she's still applying. So I just started it just after lockdown. So I mean, so that is how things are going on. And the other students also, there are students from Punjab who have filed for their higher studies.
I heard about you because for quite a long time you've been working in the education field, and during this lockdown, within a short span of time, you have hundreds of students in place.
Yes.
IELTS aspirants. As you know, I reside in a small district called Palakkad, and I've seen a lot of IELTS and career aspirants to travel from my district to a different district to learn IELTS. And this is quite common that people want to fly abroad, people want to fly to different countries and explore their career. So I invite your inputs on it. That is first thing. Second thing, there are a lot of myths surrounding IELTS. So please, come on, about the myths.
Oh yeah, I think it has been made very complicated by many of the institutes and trainers. Like you have to maintain an eye contact, and we have seen students just staring at the examiner, and then the smile, and then that will be a fake smile sometimes. Actually, these and your appearance, you have to wear a suit and tie if possible, and go very formally. So these, I think, are some of the things. Actually, a student is checked on their, the way they communicate. It's just grammar, the fluency and coherence. and your communication ability, and a neutral accent which makes the other person understand what he's saying. It's not necessary that you should have a British accent. And you have to be natural, and it's not a very formal interview or something. So that is why these questions, the first section questions, are just, I told you, to make you comfortable and to know more about you. That's all. So these are some of the things. And you actually, you don't need a very big setup or anything. All you need is if you're doing it online, you need a WhatsApp or a Google Meet. I use many platforms, or Zoom. And then materials I usually send the students. So that's what you need. You need a book and pen, and then a passion or some initiative that you want to do it. So that is it altogether. Then you can be guided, and you are able to get a good results. Yeah.
Mr. Dilip Mani, so tell me something about Aries International and your coaching style.
This is mostly online classes are going on in different countries, as I told you, and I prefer one-to-one coaching because then I believe that each student I get, they are different. So we first need to diagnose their strength and weakness, and give them enough confidence, boost their confidence, and build them up. And so definitely, a person with any level of English can achieve their results by doing this. So that's what I found. So that is why that's how we are promoting a one-to-one coaching, and many of the students are getting very good results. And the institute I have is now located in Mohali, but I have very few students coming here at different timings due to pandemic, so I can't have a very big class. But online, of course, I have many students. Yeah, that is how it's operating. Yeah.
Right. So students who are approaching you, and you will ensure that they are scoring the maximum, right?
Yeah. So it's actually in 1 or 2 weeks after the one-to-one sessions and tips and techniques I give them. In 2 or 3 weeks, they have a complete idea of what they want and what they are looking for and how much they are getting. So I usually explain to them not only the tips and techniques for how to write, but I also tell them what the examiners are looking for and how they are being marked. So that is a reason why many of them get very good scores. Till now, all of them who joined have got very good score, and it is running entirely on mouth-to-mouth publicity. So once one student from a family he gets, then his relatives, his friends are, they also start joining. That is how it's going on.
Suppose the student fails in the first attempt.
Yeah. It can happen because sometimes, due to various reasons, it can happen. Maybe he was out of focus, but usually I tell them to look at the score they got for the mock test, and if they're satisfied, they should do it. But sometimes some of the students out, they have a hurry to do it, and they might do consulting me or taking the test date without consulting me. So such things happen. So I don't charge if a student didn't get a required band, but I haven't had such an incident so far for the past 8 months. I haven't had an incident where the student had to write it again. Most of them have scored more than they expected. Cool. That's what I can say.
Anything more to add, Mr. Dilip Mani?
I think it was an immense pleasure to have this session with you. It was really, I really enjoyed talking with you. That's what I wanted to tell. You're a very good host.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Because I know well, you are a very good educator, academician, principal, and I wish all the best to Aries International and your journey towards transforming and inspiring lives around you. Thank you very much once again for sharing the platform.
Thank you, and bye-bye.